We should be live, I think. Yes, we are. Excellent. Hey, everybody. Up and down day. A lot of stuff to cover. A lot of news. A little bit of anxiety after yesterday. All-time highs. Everything's consolidating just a little bit. But there's a lot of action in other places adjacent to the cryptosphere we're going to touch on today as well. But as usual, let's go. Ooh, a lot of stuff to go through. It's over 30 slides. So anyway, this is called the Money Making Market Update. All the stuff you need to know to make money as we go forward. And of course, edutainment. There's no financial advice in here whatsoever. And it's about math, money, and freedom. But first of all, this was a nice little thing I saw today on Twitter. This coupon is now redeemable for 1,469 Satoshis. Again, people, we want everybody to try to wrap their heads around exactly where this is all going and what a Satoshi is and where your dollar is going to, or your euro, or your Swedish krona, or your Australian dollar, whatever. It's all expiring, so make sure you use it before it expires. And the world is looking for a better hedge, so I thought that was kind of cute. 1469. What will it be by Christmas? I don't know. It could be under 1,000 Satoshis for $1. That's my estimate anyway. But let's talk a little bit about the actual market itself and where we're going with Bitcoin. So this is my Bitcoin chart. Walked you through it yesterday as we broke all-time highs. But where do we go next? So as usual, I do expect a little bit of a sell wall to hit at around $70,000. It's a psychological barrier. It's a whole number. There are people that have their limit orders to sell at this price. So as usual, we'll probably hit it once, twice, 3 times before we punch through. But after we punch through, that's it. There's no more sell walls that we can see. So exciting time. And we had a huge move. We basically went from 61,000 to 68,000 in a very short window of time. So getting to that 70 won't be a big stretch, but it's going to take a little bit of hammering to smash through it. So we're going to watch that carefully. Now, in some more interesting bullish news, here's a couple of charts. This is the Bitcoin net transfer volume from exchanges. It's the 7-day moving average. And really, the most important thing is the line that turns green to red. Obviously, when you see a green line above the line, that means crypto, Bitcoin, is being dumped onto the exchanges. When you see a red line, it means it's being withdrawn from the exchanges. As a result, we are seeing accelerating outflows over the last couple of months, and we are going down to kind of low levels. Now, the outflows have accelerated this week, reaching over 5,000 Bitcoin in net withdrawals on a daily basis. As a result, the exchange supply is at a multi-year low, and now it's 12.9% of circulating supply on the exchanges. And even as Bitcoin consolidates below all-time highs, the exchange reserves continue to deplete. But there's more. When we look at this chart here, this basic observation here is this Bitcoin percent balance on exchanges, as I mentioned, 12.9% of supply. Obviously, looking for the graph, it looks pretty low, and it's getting lower all the time. The real most important thing is, while the on-chain activity is near bear market lows, it's quite a remarkable divergence. So basically, the market's acting like not even that bullish, but it is extremely bullish. So basically, it paints the picture that we are still in the accumulation phase of Bitcoin, punctuated by low activity and large exchange outflows, and very modest strategic spending by experienced hodlers. So again, a bullish picture. Let's talk about some more bullish stuff. This was funny. This is more like entertainment. This was hilarious. This was from Willy Woo, who said that, "I humbly dedicate this chart to Peter Schiff in honor of his tireless promotion of Bitcoin to his audience of gold bugs. We are forever grateful." And this shows the dollar invested 12 years ago into Bitcoin is worth about $89 million today. And if you put $1 into gold, well, yeah, still kind of $1. So it's just the way Willy Woo was running this guy was hilarious. So top notch. And some other news, kind of huge, but you can see quietly, like we've been seeing, we haven't been able to pinpoint exactly who's doing it, but the rich people and the mega rich and the billionaires of the world are gradually accumulating Bitcoin and Ethereum and other stuff. So Apple obviously have over $150 billion in cash, and there'll be a lot of speculation as well this month if Apple will buy or not. I don't think, Tim Cook is extremely conservative. I don't see him putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, but he does personally own cryptocurrency, and he has, I think, some Ethereum as well. I'm not quite sure of that. And he's had it for a while, and he's been researching the topic, and he understands as well. Obviously, from a personal point of view, it's important to hodl and have this type of asset as part of your portfolio, which is very cool. He's one of the smartest people on earth. But also, he understands the importance for Apple's future, especially with apps like Apple Pay and everything else. So we're going to watch this very carefully, but this is bullish. But when you see people like this openly come out and say, okay, yeah, I'm in, I've been in for a while, this gets all the other billionaires to jump on board too. So the concept of a $93,000 Bitcoin this month is no longer far-fetched. So we'll watch this carefully. Now, in other news as well, this is kind of interesting. For those of you who've ever used Reddit, the founder, Alexis Ohanian, bets big on Solana and W3, Web3. He basically announced at the Solana conference that he believes very much in Web3, and Solana has a platform, and they've built a $100 million fund to invest in this. He had a couple of very interesting things to say as well. He believes that Web3 social platforms are lagging behind what's happening in the Metaverse and, non-fungible NFTs. How can I forget the word NFT for a second? But he also likened the social media platform to a convention hall. And obviously they need to keep out malicious actors. There was a lot of conversation around centralization versus decentralization. There has to be some level of centralization to keep malicious actors out, etc. But he believes very big in the future of this. And he also was very interesting, and I like this too as well, because I'm a big believer in this as well. He believes that the user interface and the user experience is a very, very important challenge in Web3. And he also, from looking at all the different platforms, he believes Solana has the best potential around this area too, because the better the user experience, the more adoption, etc., etc. So that was kind of a little bit of Web3 news. Now, in terms of this, obviously our friend Anatoly Yakovenko was at the conference, and he was very surprised by the growth in the number of validators. Again, in the attempt to become much more decentralized, he knows they are working as hard as they can to become more decentralized. There is an upfront investment in hardware, etc. But he was really surprised about the fact that DeFi is now running on its own on the Solana network. He's been blown away by unique apps like Serum, how they are redesigning financial services, how developers are changing from Solidity to Rust, and the creative offerings that they're coming up with are staggering. And also the amount of DeFi TVL that's growing is also very, very impressive. So again, little news from Solana. Now, a little bit of other news related to adoption. This is a quick slide on the most traded Dexes in the crypto market. Now, there's been a bit of a change up here compared to the beginning of the year, where Uniswap v2 and Uniswap v3 kind of led the charge, but you can see there's a changing of the guard. So a quick recount of these. It's a bit of an eye chart, but you've got Uniswap and PancakeSwap. The volume is similar, about $1.5 billion each of trading volume. Then you have Uniswap version 2 at around 882 million. SushiSwap 615 million, which is multi-chain capable. Then you have the Solana ecosystem growing rapidly behind it with Radium and Orca combined. They're just behind Uniswap. And then you've got Trader Joe from Avalanche with a very impressive TVL. They're doing about $361 million in exchange volume. So we track this very carefully to understand exactly which exchanges are growing faster. And this explains as well why tokens like Uniswap are a little bit slow to move. And but again, we'll see. There's a lot of competition now, and there wasn't that at the beginning of the year. Speaking of swaps, I did say multiple times over the last couple of weeks, do not sell Cardano under $2. It'll hit $3 soon, $3.50. And here we go. We had that big bounce. Again, Cardano always lags the rest of the market, and here it is on fire. 10 to 12% gains in the last 24 hours. And I should check it now. I'll check it after during the Q&A. But IOHK recently launched a beta version of their Plutus application backend to enable integration to the Cardano wallet, which is cool. And the whole platform is bringing on more adoptions. Hopefully SundaeSwap will be up soon, and that will be 70% more efficient to run than Uniswap with 120 swaps per minute. So we're going to watch this carefully. Could be interesting. It could be the catalyst that Cardano needs really to take off. And it's already on the move. Now let's switch gears and talk a little bit about Tesla and Carmakers. Obviously, I was very open in disclosing I got into a short against Tesla. Once it started hitting about $1,200, it just looked really frothy to me. But this is the market caps of all the car makers on Earth. Names like Ford, GM, Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Mitsubishi, BMW, Volkswagen, Porsche, Renault, Ferrari, etc. compared to Tesla. And Tesla just went straight up. And when that type of thing happens, it always makes me nervous. And it makes me take money off the table. But what's really funny is I'm not the only one taking money off the table. Now, I didn't sell my Tesla stock. I hedged it, okay? So I want that to be very clear to everybody out there. And that's the beauty of being able to stay in a position when you can hedge it. Now, the Tesla stock ended Tuesday down 12%. It was funny that it didn't really move down on Monday after the news. But I did say in my live Bitcoin video yesterday that it's going to tank. And it did today. I didn't think it would all happen on the same day. But Elon Musk did announce over the weekend that he will be selling 10% of his shares. He had to do it anyway, so it's all a game. I covered that with Dave Lee today on his channel. And also current and former board members, including people like Robin Denholm, Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, Aaron Price, Antonio Gracias, and a whole bunch of others have all floated hundreds of millions of dollars worth of shares. So the message here is not to talk about Tesla, but to talk about when things go toppy. Insiders see that and they take their money off the table. So I want you guys to learn to do that too. You don't want to be left holding the bag. Like, it's fun to ride things up, but you got to make sure you take some profits when you can. So speaking of Coinbase, in a crypto exchange related piece, as you guys know as well, I got into a huge synthetic long at about $220. And I took money off the table when it hit 300. My plan was always to hedge it, get rid of it at $300. And Coinbase, when it did hit 300, I did that and I got a very nice juicy premium for it. But they reported earnings and they reported a Q3 miss, which was not expected. It really surprised the market. The earnings were still incredible. They earned $406 million compared to $1.6 billion last quarter. Last quarter was ridiculous. Now, while that number represents, I think, 500% increase over Q3 2020, it was a sizable drop from the April to the June quarter. And we'll see. But the market did not react very nicely. This is what's happening in the aftermarket. It's down over $40. And we'll see where it goes. That's where I got in. You know, you could have bought this at $220. Not too long ago, it shot all the way up, way, way above where it was supposed to be valued, you know, the 360, 370 zone. And that was the time to cash in your chips. So, you know, usual, just like Tesla, sometimes things get overbought. It's time to take some risk off the table. Speaking of some other earnings, Trade Desk, I think it's now my fourth biggest equity position or third, I'm not even sure. They delivered knockout revenue, about over $300 million, up 40% year over year, and the business is exploding. And again, it gave the stock market and analysts a lot more conviction on this particular trade. I do think now it's also at the stage of maybe being a little bit overbought. And you could have bought this at $40 a couple of months ago, 6 months ago. Again, we got in their earnings. I think they came in at 18 cents a share versus 15 cents. But they're up. Earnings are up 380% over last year. And revenue, I think, beat by about $10 or $15 million. So overall, extremely good. Looking at the Trade Desk chart, you can see less than 6 months ago, you could have bought it for $40. Then they announced a 10-for-1 split. Since then, it's gone crazy. It's basically knocking on the door of $100 right now. And that's all in a small amount of time. This is the power of transformation, digital transformation. Now, the market can be a little bit unforgiving. A little bit of Invitae news. Again, I am bullish on this because I'm very bullish on personalized medicine. And it's more of a personal thing to be able to identify disease early, like cancer, I think is very important. And these guys are kind of leading the game. There is some talk that maybe they may have a competitor in 23andMe, but we're going to monitor that carefully. But their earnings missed. Their non-GAAP earnings per share missed by 1 penny. And the stock market crucified them. So that's just the nature of the beast. Revenue was 114 million. Up 67% over last year, but again, missed by about 10 million. So we'll see. Again, they're still growing fast. I still believe 2022 will be a great year for Invitae. So we'll watch that carefully. And down at the chart, if you look here, the last time I got in was about $24, $25. Now it's at $20 and change. So again, not financial advice, but this is a $40 stock. Just be patient, everybody, if you're there. And if you want a safe position for the future, I think this one has very little downside. Speaking of two other names real quick, and the Metaverse, people always ask, how can you play Metaverse with equity? Well, there's two companies. This was an interesting article. Big thank you to Sanjay for sending me in this article. But Microsoft and Nvidia, not only Facebook, are also trying to get in on the game. Now, Microsoft has communicated its Metaverse strategy recently. And unsurprisingly, it's predicated on the strengths of its cloud and enterprise applications. So they're going enterprise first into the Metaverse. But really, in my opinion, I believe the Metaverse is much more on the retail side, gaming, etc. And Nvidia already has a full stack software capability and hardware strategy for its Metaverse ambitions. So they're one to watch, and that stock has been on fire. So congratulations to our politicians like Nancy Pelosi, who got in early with some good information. She's done really well. But my money is on Nvidia. I wish I bought it at $200 a couple months ago. Missed it by a hair. Now it's over 300. I'm looking for a new entry to buy it on the dip. So the author is also with Nvidia. So again, watch that space carefully. If you own Nvidia, I'd probably hold. I wouldn't sell, even though it's been crazy. Not financial advice, of course. So this is what they're talking about. And Nvidia is now coining the term Omniverse, not Metaverse, Omniverse. And they're using their tech stack to be able to do things like predict forest fires, set up cell networks, teach cars how to drive and park themselves and pick up food and everything else. Think robotaxis, Tesla, etc. A lot of it is actually can be powered by Nvidia chips as they go forward. And this will really help them build out their data for self-driving initiative. And using the Omniverse, Nvidia is able to create real-world scenarios for virtual autonomous vehicles, like sensors, including LiDAR and sonar, how they react on the road. So again, watch this stock carefully, especially with the shortage in semiconductors out there in the marketplace. A little bit more about, hey, be careful out there, everybody. Evergrande 2.0 could be happening. I was one of the first people to talk about Evergrande and the impact on the markets last time. But here we have the Fed saying they are aware that the China default risk could spill over to the US, not only to real estate markets and the stuff that's going on with Zillow that could put a dent in the residential real estate market, but it could also hurt the financial markets and the commodity markets as we go forward. So everybody, you know, I think it was Kathy Wood that said, if the old joke is if China coughs, the rest of the world gets a flu or something like that. I said something like that many, many months ago as a joke, but I heard her saying it there yesterday or today, and I thought it was very funny. So there's no way that China can have such a hit and take it without there being some type of knock-on effect. So we'll be on that very carefully. That could actually impact the stock market. Stock markets are way high anyway, so everything needs a breather. Nothing goes straight up, everybody. And a little bit of sad news for our friends in Australia. The Australian banks are showing the Aussies the way to unbank themselves. So even though the RBA hasn't lifted the official interest rate, the banks are raising their interest rates and mortgage rates on Australians. They're kind of jacking up the prices. You know, they're getting deposits from customers, giving them nothing back, and they're jacking up what they charge people to borrow money. So this is really going to hurt homeowners, especially as rates go up. So watch out, Australia. Maybe there's alternatives out there for you guys. And UK, our other friends, Bank of England, believe they can launch a central bank digital currency, and we know what that'll do for crypto. but they seem to be dragging their feet. I thought they'd be moving along much faster considering the state of the union over there. The Bank of England said they are exploring plans for a CBDC stablecoin. Notice the way the vernacular is a little bit different there. And this will involve consultation next year, some planning, look at some technologies, and maybe be able to have something launched by 2025 or 2030, depending on how successful they go. So again, CBDCs are coming. This will drive the adoption of crypto even faster, but I was surprised how far that out is away. And all of you out there, Robinhood was hacked yesterday. If you have anything, I know a lot of you have bought your first crypto on Robinhood, and you may have some coins there you bought for $9,000 that are now worth nearly $70,000. This is one place that I urge, not your keys, not your wallet. I don't trust Robinhood. If you've got something on there, I'll put a link below for a link to be able to get in line for the Robinhood wallet. And once you do get it, I think there's about 1.6 or 16 million people in line for it already. But it's good to get on the waiting list so you can get it as soon as possible so you can transfer your crypto off and put it somewhere safe or get yield on it like at Celsius or Forge or any other place. So that's it for now. Hope you like the content. Hit the like and subscribe if you do. I'm going to switch cameras and I'm going to take some of your questions. And I know there's a question somewhere. Big thank you as well to the moderators in the chat and K8 for managing the questions. And let's see what we got here. And a big thank you as well. Everything is donated, as you guys know. Ryan Promer, good to see you. ETH BTC is currently 0.07. When do you predict 0.10? Very clever remembering that. I think it'll happen the next 2 or 3 months. That's when I think it's going to happen. And that ties in with all my models, my price prediction models I put together in January, February of this year. So nothing has changed. And that's very important as well. If you are investing, it's good to invest in a very consistent manner and not, I always say keep your tap dancing shoes. This is about positions. But when it comes to fundamentals and pricing, you want stability. SPX up or down next 4 weeks? My money's on down. Very good question, Ryan. I've been shorting everything I can. I've been harvesting cash. I've been sharing that. Like I'm short all my positions. I have shorts on PayPal, out of the money, Coinbase, Trade Desk now, half my Trade Desk position. Tesla, I can't remember, but I'm harvesting as much as I can because, if you just look at the charts, they can't go up any higher. Everything's too high. So the guy, Crypto.com CRO token, what do you think? Utility tokens are utility tokens. They're good if you use them to get better rates, borrowing, lending rates, etc., or other benefits, trading benefits. But I don't personally invest in utility tokens. That includes FTT, CRO, Cell, etc. I rather pure form assets or smart contract platforms. I think there's better return. Now, that being said, if you look at Binance token, that's done really well lately. I had Binance. I sold it when I started seeing all the smoke. But that's just me. I did do a little bit of a dive into all the utility tokens. And I can't remember if I did a CRO token video. But let me check. I might do a quickie on that because we have the materials. So let me check and get back to you, this guy. Caligula, we were able to look into the November 15th Solent 20% token unlock to 6 million for Decimal. What number does that look on Earth back for Tesla? What number does it? Yeah, I haven't had a chance. I had a live stream today with Dave Lee. And I had a bunch of research to do, and the market's been extremely active. But I will check that out. Solent is very, very early stage, very risky. I got into the IDO. I think I got $3,000 worth for about $6. So we'll see. But I know that it's very difficult to find exactly what the market cap is because we don't know how many tokens are out there that are issued, held by insiders. So again, very, very risky. Be careful with Solent. But if you see it at $8 or $9, grab a little bit. I think it's worth that price. And I was looking at the TVL. Solent TVL is coming up on $1 billion. And that's in like 2 weeks. It's growing so fast. Short Pants Romance. If there were no taxes, how would you trade differently with the goal of acquiring more Sol? I'd like to do this with my iTrust Capital account. Yeah, so I would be very aggressive in and out of stuff. I would ride things up to tops and I'd ditch them and I'd find out what hasn't moved. I'd move to that. So for example, this might sound weird because I've been labeled as a Cardano hater. No, I have Cardano. I just have a lot more in other assets. So it was very clear a few days ago, Cardano under $2 with all the good news coming, it was going to pop. It always does. It always lags the market. So it was very clear as well that typically with conferences, like the Solana conference, it's buy the rumor, sell the news. Everything typically dips. People expect the world to change during these conferences, and it doesn't. So people are disappointed. And then the crypto falls. So last time I saw, I think Solana was at 239. And Cardano replaced it again back to the third spot on the coin market cap charts, or third or fourth spot. But anyway, it leapfrogged over Solana again. So the point is, I would have sold Solana if I didn't have to pay taxes at 259, 260. I would have put it into Cardano, let Cardano jump up. That's a lot like typical pair trading. So that's exactly what I would do. And I'm going to do a video on what I would do if I didn't have taxes, and maybe look into what it would be like to trade a tax-free account. You could even day trade some of these cryptos too. It's kind of fun. So hope that helps. Bug Duck Kiwi. What is a good price to snag some Solana now? $8 to $10 is where I grab a little bit. I think at that price is cheap. I think it fell down to $10.40 today. So we're like 40 cents off the kill zone. Not financial advice. Again, very speculative asset. Be careful with that. I just think it's cheap and has a lot of upside. And if the TVL continues to grow at this rate, it's going to be worth a lot. So, Harley Jane, are you familiar with carbon credits? Yes, I am. Specifically the carbon ETF, Crane Shares Global Carbon ETF. I'm thinking of investing. I don't invest in that type of stuff. It's not disruptive. It's just you're not going to make a lot of money there. I much prefer other assets that are disruptive, like some of the names I spoke about. Well, everything right now is so toppy that I tend to go short, but think of the Nvidias and trade desks and Teslas when they're cheaper, Google's when they're cheaper, Square when they're cheaper. Actually, Square is cheap now, and PayPal's definitely in the kill zone. If I was to look at your carbon ETF versus, and I hate ETFs anyway to begin with, unless it's a pure form Bitcoin spot ETF, I would definitely buy PayPal instead of this carbon ETF. I will check it out after the stream as well. JDO, I have my next year's tax money in USDC. Is there a crypto that I might want to put that in till tax time comes? Ooh, it's always risky to speculate with money that you owe somebody else. It's like borrowing to invest. Very, very dangerous strategy. Keep it at USDC. Hopefully you're getting 8.8%. I know Celsius pay that. I have a little bit in there myself. So that's just, don't be greedy. Take the 8.8% and hold tight. Do not speculate money that you owe to somebody else, especially the IRS. IROC 007. Too late to buy ETH. Also, would it be bad to hodl through the bear market? Also thinking about not selling Sol either. Bad strategy. I'm debating with that myself because the DeFi space is just exploding. Like in 2017, we didn't have intrinsic value in assets like Ethereum. Today we do. They run everything. And Solana just seems to be the black hole that's eating everything. You know, it's going to be a core underpinning of Web3, as I mentioned from the Reddit guy, Alex. And it's just growing so fast. I also believe, kind of a theory, I can't prove it yet, but I believe Coinbase earnings are suffering because people got fed up paying high commissions and they've learned how to use decentralized exchanges. And I've always said that from day one. I said Coinbase is a 2021 investment. It's not a long-term investment because humans will figure out how to do things in a decentralized way using true blockchain applications. And Coinbase is kind of like a dead man walking. So I think that's happening. If things do continue to accelerate and regulation doesn't put a clamp on everything, I think we could ride through this. A lot of talk as well today. It's kind of related, but not related. Willy Woo said the new bottom for Bitcoin is 50K. We're not going to go below 50K. I said something similar a while back. I thought the absolute bottom was 42K. And now people are saying the new bottom is 50K. So if we do go to 100K, there's only a 50% retracement. And if you're paying short-term capital gains on that, it makes no sense to sell, especially if you're somewhere like California. So I'll be doing exit strategy videos when we get closer as to what I offload first and how I offload them. So they're coming. I just don't want to launch them yet because I don't want people to sell too early. So stay tuned for that. JKS, my cost basis in Sol is 118. At what point do you stop layering in? What percentage do you like to keep your cost basis below the value of the asset? That's a very tough question. So, like I had a lot of Ethereum under $200 for the longest time. That was my cost basis. And still I started buying, I think I stopped buying Ethereum at $2,400 exactly. But that every ETH I bought at $2,400, that completely jacked my cost basis. So I don't think in terms of cost basis. I think in terms of, okay, two ways. If I'm adding an incremental asset, imagine I have 100 ETH and I'm adding one more. 100 cost me $200, and then the next one cost me 2,000. My average cost is kind of small. So it depends on how much you're layering in. The second thing to consider is, where do you believe the upside is going? If you're going to buy an asset for 250 and it's going to 500, it's a 2x. It's a no-brainer. So just do it. Like, what else? What are your alternatives that you're benchmarking the investment against? And that's kind of how I look at it. Full disclosure now, thoughts on Pi Network. I had a brief look at it. I didn't dig into it. So I'm not really in a position to give you a thorough. Let me check my cheat sheet to see if I have anything on it. But see, I look at so much and I can't even remember. Let's see if I have any red flags. Nope, I don't. I don't have any information. I remember it's something to do with mining on your phone or whatever, but that's it. But I don't have anything in my cheat sheet. So sorry about that. But I don't understand how mining on your phone could really work. I think there used to be a little Pi machine, little Pi piece of hardware, but just doesn't make sense to me. Satwik, how are you? Is it worth taking a loan from Celsius at 25% loan to value to buy more Bitcoin or ETH at 0% interest for 3 years? You're obviously in California, so because that's where you can get 25% zero interest loan. I did it as an experiment for about 20,000 just to see if it worked and how fast it was before I did the meeting with Alex, and I was blown away. If it is speculative money you don't need, I think you're very safe. If you have a 3-year time frame, Bitcoin's going to be worth a lot more than what it is now at 3 years, and you're borrowing to do it. So I don't want to say it's very bad to borrow to speculate, but make sure you can cover yourself. And the 25% is good. But remember, if there is a dip to 42K from where we are now, your interest rate will go up. So make sure you cover that interest as well and manage any liquidations if the time comes. Guillermo Costa, is it possible for Sol to drop lower than 240? We're supposedly only going up for here. It's 239 last time I checked. So yes, it's possible. But it seems to be at a kind of a support level there. 239, exactly on the nose. And let me have a quick look at the chart here. Actually, I can probably throw up the chart for you guys too. Let's see what I see. Well, first of all, incredible point of control on the buying at 240 level. So it looks like that is what people are looking at. Better not show. I don't know what else is popping up here. Yeah, like we've gone really parabolic from $180 to where we hit over 260, and that's only in a few days. So I think it's hard to say. If Cardano starts getting all the attention and pulling a lot of money out of Solana, it could fall a lot further. But whatever your allocation is, if you do have an allocation and you don't have enough Solana, you could even do something like I described before. Put it in Cardano, right up to $3, sell out of Cardano, and then try to get back into Solana. But you never know where it's going to go. I am very bullish long term, especially with the growth rates. But right now, again, the key message here is everything happens in cycles. Things swing from one asset to another. We see that in the stock market today. You miss your earnings, you get clobbered. You crush your earnings, you blow up. You threaten to sell your stock like Tesla, you get crushed. The markets are very fickle. They're very frothy. So just be very careful right now. It's very late as well to be buying in hard. The time for that was a few weeks ago. So that's a bit of a weird answer, but I just say be very, very careful. You put a little bit in if you want, and then layer in more if it goes down. Have a dedicated amount. Buy at 239, 231, 221, whatever your layers are. Build your Fibonacci retracement lines too. Dahar Master, I signed up with FTX, not US. Why are there no USDC pairs on FTX? They always do USDT. I asked myself the same thing. Actually, to buy the Solana IDO, I had to go to Radium with my USDT, convert it to USDC, and then deposit it. It was like a funny step. Yeah, I don't know why that is, but the good thing about it is you can just, as long as you're not holding too long, you're going to be okay in USDT. But do not hold it towards the end of the year, because at least the US regulators are trying to come down hard on them. So if it's for a short-term transaction, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're going to be okay. Tony Dim, what do you think of VeChain? With all the news, I know you own some. Yeah, I've got a small VeChain bag. My plan is to exit at 33 cents. The problem I have is like the problem I have with many other tokens. Very high emission schedule. Avalanche, high emission schedule. I won't mention the name from yesterday. Very high emission, very, very high emission schedule. VeChain, very high emission schedule. Until they start putting a burn type concept in place, I plan to exit. So that is my plan. But 33 cents was always my price target. And when I ran the numbers about my price prediction models, because there's so much inflation or emission of tokens, that I don't see it going above 33 cents. I know there's a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers calling it going to $1. And who knows, it might go that way, but I think there's safer assets. I just hate things that are inflationary. Like one of the reasons I'm in Bitcoin is because fiat is inflationary. So I have this internal opposition to it. Anything that is inflationary. And that's why tokenomics is so important when you analyze crypto. Waragon 25, can you send some price targets for your Solana? And are you upping your price target on DOT due to all the parachains? Yeah, DOT I still have is going to $1.98 or so. And the Solana is so hard for me to price because I don't know how many tokens are issued. I know they sold 5 million already at the IDO, but beyond that, I don't know what's out there. So until I have that information, it's hard for me to do a price prediction. And it's pure speculation. I can't stress this enough. I just threw money on it because I always like to experiment with new crypto technologies and things on different chains and how to buy an IDO and how to do all the transitions and play with the new wallets and stuff. That's kind of why I did it, more of a learning experience. But it's not like a traditional investment where I go in deep, and I've become a true DJ, never bought something so far out. Let me check the Solana crypto. I think it was like $10 earlier today, $10.40. And there is still no information on the circulating supply. So until I get that, I cannot tell. Oh, it's $11. It's gone up, but it's, what did it hit there? $16 the other day. 8 to 10 is a good place to layer in and get a little bit more. That's where I'm buying. And I hope that helps. Let me see. That was Evergrande. JKS bought more Invitae today on the dip. Yes, I do feel 2022, it'll be back at $40. It could even be acquired by a big company. The future, I spent some time in the past working around the pharma industry. I know how they work. Like every other industry, it's all going digital. It's all going to data. And all the companies that own the data and have the digital way to deliver closer to the customer, closer to the patient, personalized medical services will win the day. That's why Invitae is so important. I think, just be patient. I was so busy today I didn't get a chance, but I probably would have bought more at $20 today. And even if you look at the chart, let me pull something up for a second. Hang on, I gotta make sure I pull this up. Bear with me. Invitae. Ooh. Retire equities. There it is. So even if you look at just where it was, let me share this with you guys to show you kind of what I see. Here, you've got your historical chart. We go back to the beginning of the year. This thing was up at $62.50. So it's a third of where it was. Now, the entry point is a blue arrow down here for me. And, you know, there's a couple of other positions, but you can see it oscillates even so quickly. So it was $35. June, it spiked up to 6th of August, back up to $35 again, $32. So it's an easy $30, $40 over the next 12 months. Almost 95% sure of that. So do with that as you will, but I think it's a pretty safe play for people to get into. And it's not like crypto where it's going to triple or quadruple in a matter of days. It'll move slow, like your typical equity. So there's a question. Mark France, any thoughts on Telcoin? Don't like it. Not at all. Sorry about that, Mark. And Nav, why is Solana not doing so well? You still bullish? Yeah, I bought it at $6. It's doubled. So that's in a week. It's doing very well. I don't know why people don't look at the charts and see that. Crypto Pappy, did you hear about the secret Solana wallet holding 20 million coins? No, they know about it. It was 12. They found an additional 8. They burnt the 12. They're probably going to burn the 8 too. So Alex is on top of that. Everybody, when you look at the games played by other cryptos, you got to remember every crypto is imperfect. The only one that's almost close to perfect is Bitcoin. Every other one will have a wart or a pimple or a piece of hair where it shouldn't be or whatever else. Nothing is perfect. Yes, Solana's not decentralized enough, but it's getting there very quickly. They've gone from 2 validators to 1,200 in a very short window of time. And they're adding more and more as each day goes by. And yes, they have 302 million coins, an extra 8 million. It's a very small percentage of the overall float, and they'll fix it. But the market's big enough to absorb it. Just think back to Ethereum. Ethereum was just minting coins. Cardano minting coins like there's no tomorrow all the time for years. Solana is very new. It's a brand new chain. It's very fresh. And with freshness comes issues. So everybody, please don't expect perfection from everything. And crypto is a very risky space to invest in. But it's also a very transformative space. I still believe back the winners. Look at growth. Look at adoption. Look at developers. Look at teams. Look at smart money, where the money's investing. And that'll tell you where to go, where to invest. So I hope that helps. But don't worry. I've got hundreds of messages about that. And then somebody else, Matthew Crowder, put a video out regarding the billionaires laughing with Chamath and stuff. And everybody is freaking out. Okay? There's no need to freak out. If I ever sell anything, you guys will be the first to know. Okay? So that is my promise to you. Retrorist, GBT is showing a 1264-to-1 ratio to Bitcoin percent movement in my holding. You had listed 1057.4. Okay, double check your numbers. My numbers are right. I've double, triple, quadruple checked. Check it again. You can look at the GBTC per Bitcoin. And I've been modeling this for a whole year, so I'd be very surprised if I was wrong. Grayscale Bitcoin, it's very easy. You just go to the product, pull it up. It'll tell you how many Bitcoins they have per share, and then do your division. Bitcoin per share is 0.000093397, and that's it. So call it 0.001. And that's how you get to the 1,057, not 1,264. Now, what you might be doing is ignoring the discount that GBTC is at, Retros, and that could be the problem in your calculation. Okay, but right now, it's still on sale, still 14% off. And a big thank you for a donation as well. Bookie, Jeff Hammer, JB, Crypto High, Thrift Store Theater, Beatty McGee. I just moved. Tuesday's Dragonfire, playing with pastels, Cryptolicious, two large brains together, time for you to interview Elon Musk. That'd be funny. Like a Joe Rogan interview would be hilarious. Beyond the Bars, Michael Farrell, Shireen Mirza, Dantres, Fantasy Collision and Customs, Lydia Yin, Wing Sum Tui, Bat Pangolin. You got to tell me the background behind that name, because I think I kind of know. There's two options where it comes from. Quaken 357, MT, Evan and Sydney, Robin Dennis, Chaitanya Balagam, Derek Wikeen, and Guillermo Costa, Christina Wendell, Mining Sats. I like that. St. Jude needs you. Yes. And we all need organizations like St. Jude. Captain Bly, Cryptocurrency Trading for Beginners, Master Block Warrior. Good night all. Oh, and Lucretius. Thanks all for being here. I'll see you all tomorrow.